You see, investing out of state gives you the advantage of being able to diversify what you're holding and why you're holding it. If you're looking for rental properties and you can't afford the price of Southern California rentals, which are blooming expensive, and they often, in not all cases, but in many cases, start with a negative price to rent ratio. It means you're paying money every month to hold that property up. If you're in Pasadena, Altadena, Baldwin Hills, Santa Monica, Venice, you're spending money every month to hold that property up for a certain number of years until the rent increases enough that finally you're making some money. Why is that valuable? I'll tell you in a minute. I am Christina Suter, and this is the Real Estate Breakthrough Show, where we talk about the reality of real estate, the mindset you need in order to face the reality of what it is, and tips and tricks to get you moving forward in investing. I am your host, Christina Suter. I get asked this question all the time. Should I invest out of state? I get it all the time. And the answer to me is very simple. Yes, and depends. Now, let me go through both of those. Yes, you should invest out of state. You should consider investing out of state. There are lots of reasons to consider investing out of state. One of the reasons is generally the price to income ratio, which means you get positive cash on cash return on your rentals, right, is better than California, which is the state I live in. Let's say you don't live in California. Let's say you live in Colorado Springs. Let's say you live in El Paso. Then the question is, should I invest in California? And the answer is still yes. You should consider investing in California. Why? Why would I say it's yes both ways? And here's why. It depends on what your investment goals are. You see, investing out of state gives you the advantage of being able to diversify what you're holding and why you're holding it. If you're looking for rental properties and you can't afford the price of Southern California rentals, which are blooming expensive, and they often, in not all cases, but in many cases, start with a negative price to rent ratio. It means you're paying money every month to hold that property up. If you're in Pasadena, Altadena, Baldwin Hills, Santa Monica, Venice, you're spending money every month to hold that property up for a certain number of years until the rent increases enough that finally you're making some money. Why is that valuable? I'll tell you in a minute. But the point being is, well, actually, I'll tell you now. The point is, it's valuable because you're buying it for the appreciation and not the cash. So buying in Southern California works for a specific goal. It doesn't work for all goals. It doesn't work for everybody. It works if that's what you're looking to hold in your portfolio. Why would people look to hold high appreciation assets in their portfolio? They don't need cash now. 1. 2, they understand the Southern California market. 3, they like being close to their particular asset, the asset that they own. 4, it feels very comfortable and it's kind of fun. Like, gee, oh my gosh, I'm going to buy an asset that most likely some year before I go to sell it, it's going to appreciate by double digits in a single year. Now, that may not be meaningful to everybody, but it can be very meaningful here in Southern California, that you can count on double digits, potentially at least a year, if not 2 or 3 years before you hit the top of the market. Now, what's the problem with that? The problem with that is it is also going to decrease. Southern California is a high velocity market. High increase, high decreases. We go up, we go down. We don't usually go down as much as we've gone up, but trust me, the ride down is no fun. So if you want to buy high appreciating assets, then Southern California, Chicago, the heart of Chicago, the heart of New York, or all Manhattan, are all places where you can buy high appreciating assets, low, if zero, or even negative cash on cash returns, specifically holding it for the appreciation. If you don't live in Southern California, then that would be purchasing out of state for you. Now, let's say you live in Southern California and you're looking to purchase in El Paso, Texas. Why would you purchase in Knoxville, Tennessee, which I've owned, in Arlington, Virginia, which I've owned in? Why would you purchase in these out-of-state cities? or Arlington, Texas, or Hood River, Oregon, all places I've actually owned in. Why would I purchase in those places? I purchase in those places because the cash on cash return. I want rentals that are not going to be highly volatile, that are not going to appreciate by double digits, but that are going to appreciate slowly, moderately, right? But give me cash on cash every year. I own currently in Indiana, right? Indianapolis to be specific. Why? Because I can get cash every month. I can get positive returns on that property in my bank account as rents. My renter is paying down my principal. They're paying into my kitty because I'm actually getting positive rent. They're paying my property tax. They're paying my insurance. And I'm actually bringing money in. Money that I can monthly live on to be able to afford my own life here in Southern California. Regardless of where I live, it just happens to be I can afford my own life. So would I invest out of state? Yes, I would invest out of state. I invest out of state in markets like Indianapolis, specifically so I get cash in my account. I get mild appreciation. I'm not exposed to high levels of volatility. So I'm not having to track the market every year. Although if you're in stocks, every year sounds pretty low, like a low level of volatility to begin with. But I'm not having to track the market every year and making sure that I understand where the crest of the wave is going to be. So you can find this pretty easily. If you go to FRED, F-R-E-D, which is the St. Louis Federal Reserve, they have charts based on the 20 major cities in the United States. So if you want to see a highly volatile market, then type in Los Angeles County and you'll see what Los Angeles looks like. And then type in a chart like Indianapolis and you'll see what a lower volatility market looks like. And you'll see the charts are distinctly different. So it's not that hard to distinguish which city is which if you just spend a little time doing your research. And I'll probably do another video specifically on what are the sites I use and how I do my research out of state. But for now, I want to answer this question. Should I invest out of state? Yes, and depends. Depends upon what you want to hold in your portfolio. Now, you thought maybe I was done, but I'm not. There's also one more aspect to depends. Depends upon you. You can never forget you. You are a very important part of your investment success. You and your comfort with what you're choosing to do and your skill in what you're choosing to do is a very important part of your investment decisions. Some people are like, I can't hold out of state. I've got a client right now, no matter how many times we talk about investing out of state, the next investment that seems to be found, I've noticed they're doing their research. They're absolutely participating in the process. They're completely engaging themselves in researching and identifying properties, but they're comfortable investing close to home. They're comfortable investing with what they know. I can't blame them for being comfortable with investing in what they know, but it means that their portfolio will be weighted heavily because they're in Southern California, weighted heavily in Southern California assets. And it will take them time to grow into, to research, to contemplate, and they may never hold assets outside of the Southern California market. They may decide to find cash on cash returns through another vehicle versus owning out of state. So it really does have to do with your risk tolerance. Now, let me give you another example. Competency. I can manage an out-of-state rental practically in my sleep. I have been doing it for, I don't know, I think I started investing out of state 25 years ago. I've been doing out-of-state investments for a very long time. I have no problem managing out-of-state rentals. What I don't do well out of state is managing out-of-state flips. That to me has been well proven. I do not manage out-of-state flips very well. There's something about the fact that it is so far away and it still needs my attention pretty much several times a week, even if I have a competent GC, which is also equally hard to find. So I'm not good at managing out-of-state flips. Some people are. I know people who make a whole business out of it. You know, there's Phoebe South Bay, Matthew Owens, has a whole business out of state flips. My co-presenter at Phoebe Pasadena, Kirk Carlstrom, has a whole series of out-of-state flips. Clearly, these gentlemen are very capable of managing out-of-state flips. I'm not good at it. They have something in their genes and their mentality that manages that way better than I do. So should I buy flips out of state? No, it's not profitable for me to do that. So I shouldn't buy flips. I can buy burrs. I can purchase, I can buy, rent, rehab, rent, and refinance. I can manage that. That works for me, usually because the rehabs are much smaller than a flip on a rental. That is a process I can manage. So should you buy out of state? Yes, and depends. So final element is always do your research. If you're going to buy out of state, you need to get yourself well familiar with the market, and you need to get yourself well familiar with your team. So purchasing out of state, yes, you should consider purchasing out of state. Always be aware of the depends. Do I really want to be able to have that type of asset inside of my portfolio? Am I looking for positive cash and cash through rentals? Am I looking for high appreciation assets? You may say no. Does it fit inside of my competency or my nature, my risk tolerance? And the answer, again, might be no. So invest out of state? Depends. This is Christina Suter on the Real Estate Breakthrough Show. Thank you so much for listening. Tune in each week for Spotify, iHeartRadio, iTunes, and Roku TV.